What's the oldest young age? I don't know. This is a tough question to get into. 23 is young enough that if you are like, I'm 23, I'm old, you actually deserve to be made fun of. Because like, this 23 is so obviously young. You almost can't be younger and be an adult. So you're really like, oh, I'm not young anymore. I'm not in middle school. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, yeah, you were wearing Velcro shoes back then. 27 is the youngest old. I'm trying to think of the right way that I want to describe it. I feel like it's partly a mindset. Like, there are old 23-year-olds, and there are like young 50-year-olds. The one thing I will say is that a young 50-year-old, for me, is also cause to be made fun of. I kind of feel like you should just like be your age. At least that's how I endeavored to be. Or maybe like a year older or something like that. What do you mean by that? I mean, like when I see someone that's like 50, but they're trying to act like they're like 22, I'm like, okay, Stifler's mom, but like in a decade, you're going to be 70, basically. Like you can't be living this lifestyle that long. That's too much wine for a 70-year-old. It's too much wine for a 55-year-old, man. Why are you edging the cards? I want to reduce the value of my face cards. You can't? Oh, brother. You saw something devious in chat? Well, I saw like somebody typed 50 plus 10 equals 703. And then someone just added them and typed like 4 question marks and was like, what are you? I was trying to figure out what they were going for. I don't know, but here's what I'll say, because I get annoyed when like when young people are like, I'm so old, it's the same vibe as like when the valedictorian is like, oh, I'm nervous about the exam today. And you're like, don't be. You have literally like a 99 heading into the exam. You're going to be fine. Like 23, you're like what? Maximum like 1 to 2 years out of college. Obviously your ass is not old. Like what oldness, what acts that are emblematic of aging have you even experienced? You can't even, like at 23, you can't even say shit like, oh, my bruises don't heal as fast as they used to. Like, what are you talking about? Bowel issues? Well, maybe. You went bald at 23? Yeah, but that's not because I'm old. It's just because my like genetics are cooked. I groan when I sit. That doesn't have shit to do with being 23. You just love attention. Like, you see, you're getting all these issues conflated with aging, man. You got it all confused. This is also like never the way that people, like you're being disingenuous. Like people, whenever they want to win an argument, they're like, I experienced poverty. That's what taught me about aging. You disingenuous motherfucker. You can't just play that card when you want to win an argument. People never go, oh, I'm so old, I have to pay rent now. It's always like, oh, a movie I liked when I was in high school just had its 10-year anniversary. Don't, because you're code switching. You're using rhetorical techniques to try to gain an advantage versus me in an argument. The problem is you forget that my dumbass was even stupider than you. When I was 23, I'm like, oh, I'm ancient. I've already been through all this shit. Why am I ancient? Fucking Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire came out 10 years ago, but I can still remember it. Oh, I have a living memory of some shit that was in the decade previous. That's not real aging. You guys aren't real agers. Are you ageist? A little bit. I mean, come on, right? Based. I don't know if it's based, but there's just some stuff where I'm like, you know, if I get cut off in traffic and then I like pass the person that cut me off and I look in the driver's side window and they're like 82 years old, I'm like, oh, my bad, brother. Sorry. Oh, true. Everyone's ageist in the car. Like, let's be real, man. If you're in the grocery store and there's 2 open aisles And in aisle number 1, it's the same number of people. There's just one person in each aisle in the lineup, okay? In aisle number 1, there's a 25-year-old. And in aisle number 2, there's a 75-year-old. You're getting in aisle number 1. Aisle number 1, that 25-year-old has social anxiety. They've been rehearsing the interaction in their mind ever since they got into the store. They have their Google Wallet rewards card loaded so it can be scanned immediately by the cashier. They've been repeating in their head, on Visa, please. On Visa, please. On Visa, please. On Visa, please. Pretty good. How are you? On Visa, please. On card. On card. Oh, debit. I've got on debit. On debit. The 75-year-old is just relying on lived experience, man. And it makes them slower. And even if the shit scans wrong for the 25-year-old, they just tank it. The 75-year-old, they'll just be wrong. Like the bananas will scan at 99 cents a pound instead of 89 cents a pound. And they'll be like, actually, the sign said 89 cents. And then the cashier has to fucking leave to go look at the sign. You're getting behind the 25-year-old any day of the week. Because young people also act like their shit don't stink, myself included. But straight up, the ageism works in the other direction too. If I know I'm going to have to get in a small talk conversation, I would much rather get in a small talk situation with an old lady than like a 21-year-old. Because I know that the old lady's not going to judge me for talking about normal small talk stuff like the weather. Whereas meanwhile, you talk to somebody who's 22 and you got to give them a pearl of wisdom with every single conversation. Otherwise, they're like, I could be looking at my phone right now. Oh, sorry that out of nowhere I don't have divine wisdom that's more interesting than some completely fabricated fake news TikTok or something like that. Meanwhile, the old lady is just some weather we're having, and you're like, damn. She was spitting with that one. I know I talk about it every time I come back from vacation in the United States of America as well, though. But I do want to say, I don't know. Maybe I'm being an asshole. Number 1 North American phenotype that I have distaste for. Middle-aged dad who has an AirPod in while he's out with his family. I just don't get it, man. Maybe it's because I'm on kid number 1. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to miss these moments some days. So I'm going to try to savor them as much as I possibly can. I just feel like it's a weird message to send to your kids yeah, it's nice to spend time with you, but I also need to listen to this college football game simultaneously because you kids are boring as fuck. I know I've said it before, but when there's a teenager on a family vacation and they're using AirPods even though they're out with their family, I'm like, I get it. As a kid, a teenager, it's your responsibility to think that your parents are not cool. And be like, I would rather listen to some shit that's, no disrespect, is probably garbage. It might even be my stream. But the dad, I think you just got to tank that psychological damage, quite frankly.